You want to travel, but you don't have the cash. Roll the intro. What's up everyone, Dustin Singer here and welcome back to the channel. It's so great to have all of you here and see all of your smiling faces. I'm going to be sharing my tips on how to save money for travel. Enough with the chit chat, let's just jump right into it. Number one, need to know your overhead. What I mean by that is, you have to know how much it costs for you to be you. Take absolutely everything into account. Your rent, utilities, internet, cell phone, your car, gasoline, insurance, health insurance, groceries, alcohol, how much money you spend eating out every week. Take absolutely everything into account. That way you know exactly what it is. Once you figure out what your overhead is, take your gross income per month from your job, subtract your overhead, that equals your savings. It's time for step 2, which is open up a savings account. Take that savings, put it into a separate account. That money does not exist once it goes in there and you cannot touch it. Just let it sit there and grow over time until you have enough to travel somewhere. So, once you figure out what your overhead is and you have your savings per month, it's time to trim the fat. Is there anything in your overhead or your monthly expenses that you could cut down on? For example, can you take public transportation to work? Can you drive a cheaper car? How many times a week do you go out for meals and drinks? How much are you spending on alcohol? Can you cut anything out or cut back on in order to save you more money? Remember, the goal here is to maximize your savings and minimize your monthly expenses. And when you start taking away all these little things per month, I know it doesn't seem like much at the time, like, you know, the one going out to dinner the one night a week, a couple times a week, it doesn't seem like much at the time. But if you do this over a long enough period of time, like let's say 4 months, 6 months, or a year, or even longer, it adds up substantially. Over a long enough period of time, those little bits that you can save, just those little bits, even if it's only $15 a week, you do that over the course of 52 weeks, that's a decent amount of money. Next, get a travel rewards credit card. Now, before I go any further, if you are in credit card debt, please stop watching this right now and just focus on getting yourself out of credit card debt. But if you are not in credit card debt, do some research and find out which credit card or travel rewards card is the best one for you. A lot of them have really awesome signing up bonuses that give you like 25,000 air miles. If you can get a travel rewards credit card that gives you a really great point system or rewards program, use that credit card, use it for your big purchases like your plane tickets or a couple of meals, car rental, things like this, and start racking up those points. And you could use those points in the later future for, let's say, another plane ticket or splurge on a big hotel or even just straight up cash back that you can have in your pocket for when you do go traveling. Tip number 5, it's time for some change. That totally did not work. What I'm talking about is actual change. Little coins. How many times is it that you go to a shop and you have a couple of dollar bills in your wallet, or in my case, $5 bills. We don't have dollar bills here in Canada. And you go to the shop and you buy, let's say you buy a drink or a package of chips or anything like that. You break the bill and what are you left with? You're left with a bunch of coins. Get yourself a little jar like this, put a little label on it that says travel fund, and at the end of the day, empty your pockets. Any loose change you have, just throw it into the jar and just let it sit there and grow, just like your savings account. Over a long enough period of time, this little jar could be worth probably anywhere between $50 to $100. Keep track of the change. There's an old expression that goes, if you look after the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. Tip number 6, travel somewhere cheap. It sounds kind of obvious, but hear me out. If you travel somewhere cheap, most likely your exchange rate is in your benefit. For example, Southeast Asia, Africa, Central America, usually the conversion rate is in your favor and your money actually goes a little bit further. If you were to compare Southeast Asia, let's say Thailand, to traveling in the UK, hostels in the UK are not cheap. Hostels in Southeast Asia are significantly cheap. Your money goes further, and that means you can go further. You can travel for longer. Tip number 7, work more and spend less. If you have a full-time job and you have your days off, 2 days off on the weekend, try and use up your free time and pick up a part-time job. Now I know that kind of sucks, the sound of that, giving up your free time. You only have so many days off and, well, you're gonna spend it working. No one wants to do that, but you kind of have to make this a priority. If you are really determined to save money to go traveling, you will make the sacrifice. You will do what needs to be done. In my case, I couldn't work any more than what I already was at my old job. I could only work so many hours, and I was maxed out for the hours in the month. But on my time off, I had a week off in between my work rotations. I would have to go to work for 2 weeks straight, and then I would come home for 1 week. In that week off, I was able to help out my friend's construction company, help them out for a day or two on my week off. By keeping myself busy, this gave me less time off to spend my hard-earned money, and I just worked. I was able to make a few extra bucks, even on my time off. Tip 8, travel independently. If you are considering going on a group travel or traveling solo, this can be a little intimidating, a little bit scary for first-time travelers, the idea of traveling by yourself, especially when there's so many great companies out there that offer group travels. They have a set itinerary, and you travel with a group of like-minded people in your same age group. I've been there. I've done that. My very first backpacking trip, when I was 19, I went with a travel company, and it was 3 months, and it was amazing. It was fantastic. I was with a group of like 20 people. They were all in the same age as me, and we had a freaking amazing time. It was awesome. But just know that when you travel in a group, you're paying for the luxury of traveling in the group, the privilege of traveling with others. When you travel solo, you don't have your own set itinerary. You can go wherever you want. You can price check your own places. You can stay wherever you like. There's quite a difference between group travel and solo travel. Just know that with solo travel, you have a lot more options and a lot more choice. It's actually significantly cheaper traveling solo than traveling in a group. Now, my last tip is change your relationship with money. If right now in your life that the biggest problem you have is that you don't have money to travel, that's a pretty awesome problem to have. There could be far worse problems to have than not having money to travel. You could have medical problems, you could have medical bills, you could have not enough money to put food on the table problems. Like, those are legitimate problems when you compare that to I don't have money to travel. And when you change your relationship with money and look at it from another perspective, you'll be able to look at your overhead and look at your monthly expenses and look at your situation and be able to decisively change your habits or change your lifestyle in order to get where you want to be. So that's it, guys. I hope these tips help you in your goal to save money to travel. I wish you all the best of luck. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Best of luck with saving, guys.